everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am having a fantastic day because it's the same day in which I recorded my other video. And I'm off this week. I'm not off this week in which I will be posting this. I'm off this week 2 weeks from now. This is the week of Thanksgiving that I made this video. I don't know why I have to explain that to you. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm having a good week. That's all that matters. I hope you're having a good week. And the sun is slowly trying to do that brightness thing, so I'm gonna just jump right into it. Today, we are talking about placeholders part 2. So I actually got a good response rate from the placeholders video. I had people message me. They were like, oh my God, I'm a placeholder. And I'm like, okay, you may not be a placeholder. Do not freak out. Do not jump on your partner and be like, how dare you use me for emotional stability? Like, no. Because I'm telling you, placeholders, they do occur, but I can assure you, I think more people are not going to invest that much time and energy into being with someone when they could easily just not be with anyone. So we're going to talk about the traits that attract people to placeholders. So what traits does a placeholder have that makes people want to be with them? So don't freak out. It's okay. Here's another thing that I want to disclaim. If you have any of these traits, don't try to change it. Don't try to fix it. Just be able to communicate what you want from a partner and what relationship type that you want, because these traits I'm about to tell you, they're not bad. They're not like something where it's like, you give them all your money and you sleep like, in a box with your name on it. Like, it's nothing drastic like that. These are just traits that people in general are attracted to. But with a placeholder, people are attracted to it to a fault, right? So we're just going to jump in. Don't freak out. It's okay if you have these traits, because I have these traits. Trust me, I do. Did y'all see that? I was not trying to do that. Okay, ignore it. Okay, the very first trait that any placeholder has is that they are a comfort person. That means that when people interact with them, it's comforting, it's safe, it's comfortable, it's nice, and it doesn't feel strained. And for someone like myself who has traits like that, people generally gravitate to you because I'm not really stuffy most of the time. Depends on the subject. But I'm very easy to be around, and I'm the one that'll make a cup of tea, I'll cook you dinner, we're gonna talk, we're gonna sit on the couch, we'll cuddle up. Like, I'm easy to be with, I'm comfortable. So that's the very first trait that a placeholder will potentially have, because I don't think other people will invest the same energy into someone who's not easy to be with. Easy to be with. When I say easy to be with, I doesn't mean, you're easy, but I mean that generally the person doesn't feel like they have to get themselves up to be in your presence. And that's something that I do just simply because I myself am not going to go to an obscene extent to be with a person. And I would, I give that other people that interact with me the same liberty. Second trait. I was like, second trait. Placeholders typically are agreeable to a fault, which means that if you tell them something, if you lay it out in the relationship, that you're only going to do X amount of things and they should not expect any more, typically they'll go with it. Because I think with placeholders, they like the company of this person that they're interacting with. Because I don't know many people that are going to deliberately interact with someone to an extent that may be a relationship if they don't like being around that person. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't think it makes any sense to other people when you have full capability to be with someone else. So they're agreeable to a fault, which means that if you go long amounts of time without speaking to them, and then you suddenly come back, they'll be like, oh, I completely understand, it's fine, I get it, it's fine. And then that allows I was about to say the perpetrator, like this is a crime or some crap, that allows the other person to be like, oh, well, you know what, I don't really have to defend myself. Like, I could totally go days without talking to this person, and I know they're going to still be there. And for some people, I know at the beginning of any developing relationship, whether that be friendship or, relationship, you really don't want to seem like you're way too into them. Trust me, I am currently there. The idea of being too much into a person where you're like, I do want to talk to you every day. If I could see you every day, I would. So placeholders are agreeable to a fault, to a point where they'll allow you to do certain things to a point where it's like, okay, at this point, you're not even trying, bruh. you're not even trying, and they're not going to address it with you because they don't want to run the risk of you of appearing to be too needy, which allows them to like walk all over placeholders, honestly. And you know, if you saw my video about setting expectations in relationships, I think a placeholder can take that into consideration, that hey, I don't like that we're so called a thing and you haven't spoken to me in 3 days, or it takes me 2 weeks to see you, or whenever I do try to hang out with you, you're preoccupied with something else. But a placeholder will more than likely not say that to the person because, like I said, they don't want to come off as being needy or, you know, pressuring that person into, you know, fitting into some conformity or anything like that. So placeholders, take note. You really need to open your mouth, tell people what you need. Diamond, you out here giving out advice you're not even taking. I'm gonna do that. It's hard. And I'm telling y'all, straight from me, like right now, I'm in a thing, I guess, I don't know, which I guess is the point of this video. You need to be able to explain and ask, what is this thing? Is it a relationship? Are we just talking? Are we just dating? I don't know. But placeholders will probably, you know, not ask that. So I guess we're gonna just mosey on to trait number 3. Yeah, I was on the right number 3. Trait number 3, placeholders aren't typically going to ask you to define a relationship because they feel as though if they have to ask you to define a relationship, that there's no relationship to hold. And that's not something that a placeholder wants to actually think about. It's easier to call someone your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your significant other behind their back without actually having to have that conversation in real life, because that might backfire. One, you might force that person to tell you, hey, actually, I'm not that into you. I'm sorry that you thought you were. And that's going to hurt like heck, bruh. Yes. Or they think. So this is all thought process. I'm not telling you that you should not do this. Like I said at the beginning of the video, everything I'm telling you, you can do. Just do it. Second one, you might feel as though, you know, that person is deciding, oh no, they're trying to define this relationship, it's time to bounce. And you know what? If a person decides to bounce because you want to know what the definition of the relationship is, let them go. The door. They can bounce, because if anyone doesn't want to have that conversation and define what this is with y'all, especially if you're spending an extended amount of time together, if, you know, the L word was leaked out a little bit, if anything like that has occurred, I think it is important for you to know what this relationship is. I don't think that's a terrible expectation to have, right? Right? And the fourth and final trait of any placeholder is pretty much the reason why they exist, is that they're easily detachable. And that goes hand in hand with everything I've already told you, with that being overly agreeable, with not wanting to define the relationship as a, you know, not to make the other person, you know, feel weird or anything. Easily detachable. Because if a person has spent months talking to you, you have not defined a relationship, you're so agreeable to a point they can go weeks without speaking to you, it gets to a point where it's easy to walk away from you. And that is the whole point of a placeholder. Someone that's easy to let go of, simply because you didn't put your foot down about what this relationship is. And I know for some placeholders, they want, like, I know a lot of friends of mine who are like, we just let things naturally progress, and then it's gonna happen if it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm all about things naturally progressing, but I think at some point, especially if you're spending so much time with a person, that you need to define, what is this? What am I to you? What are you to me? I need to know this. And if that conversation can't happen, or if you're allowing a person to decide when they want to see you and you're not even in the thought process about when they're making their schedule, you're a placeholder. And I know some people are like, no, it's just that, you know, we all have varying degrees of, commitment. Oh my God. You know, as a placeholder to another, as a reformed placeholder, I rebuke the name of placeholder in 2020. I'm not doing it. As a reformed placeholder, I know what it's like. I know how it feels. When it feels like that you're demanding too much of a person, when in reality, you're just wanting to know what is up. Placeholders. In 2020, you will know what's up. I swear. You need to open your mouth. And if a person leaves you because you opened your mouth, let them go. They ain't worth it. That ain't worth the months of talking to someone for them to sever it off and go start a committed relationship with someone else. So this is not gender restrictive. That's not sex restrictive. This ain't age restrictive. You know when a person's with you and you know when a person's not. So stop allowing yourself to be the easy person, easy to be with, easy to accommodate. If it means that a person's going to walk all over you and ultimately ditch you for someone they want in another place. So that's my rant. That's my little preacher rant there. I'm done with that topic. Placeholders have been closed. And if you want to hear more about placeholders, do the thing you did before. Message me, email me, and then maybe I'll put another video together. But a lot of people are like, I want to know the traits of a placeholder so I can decide if I'm one. If you decided you're a placeholder after this video and you want to address it. Do it. I'm right there with you. Anyway, y'all, if you're not on my podcast, I don't know why that is. Diamond in her hat. In fact, this is the hat that has all those topics in it. If you're not on my podcast, you really need to be. It's Patreon, $2 a month. Link in the description below. I put a new podcast out every 2 weeks, and you should be listening to it, especially if you like these kinds of videos, which have been dulled down a little bit because I told y'all my dad watches these, and I try to watch my mouth because my dad listens to it. But if you want to hear the uncensored version of things I like to talk about, then you need to be on the podcast, because that's where it's at. So like, share, and subscribe. I will have you a video next week. Let's hope. I don't know. I did it 2 weeks in a row. And it's, you know what? I definitely will. I'm off all this week. There is no reason why I can't make at least 5 videos. You'll have a video next week. I'm speaking it to existence now. And I'll see you later.